Welcome to Le Grand Voyage with Chateau Malartic La Gravière. Why does red Bordeaux taste different to New World Cabernet? Notice I say different here, not better, different. Sometimes I'm asked to declare a preference between the two. There are wines I love from around the world, but Bordeaux holds a very special place in my heart, and I'm always alert that that's where the special place is, my heart, not just my palate. And what makes a wine special is sometimes different to what makes a wine great. But part of the answer to our question lies in the question. Why does red Bordeaux taste different to New World Cabernet? Well, New World Cabernet Sauvignon is Cabernet Sauvignon, wherever in the New World it comes from. The USA, Australia, Chile, Argentina. Bordeaux is almost universally a blend. There's usually Cabernet Sauvignon in there, but there's also Merlot, Cabernet Franc, Petit Verdot. That means that the Cabernets of the New World can have a remarkable purity and direction and focus, while the red wines of Bordeaux have a head start on complexity, layers and range. One is the soloist, the other is the orchestra. Now, the reason Bordeaux's winemakers have a blend of grapes isn't only for that orchestral complexity. There's a practicality too. Like many of Europe's wine regions, Bordeaux is relatively cool. Winemakers have looked to make wines where a grape can ripen, but not too much. While you can't control the weather, you can control the blend. In a very warm year, you might dial up one variety and dial down another. It depends on your site and the soils and exactly what happened when in the growing season. In the New World, wine regions have tended to flourish in areas with consistent, warm ripening conditions. They perhaps allow Cabernet to hit its high notes more regularly. You can see this in the glass too. New World Cabernet will often be darker, almost opaque, inky wine that you could imagine filling up a fountain pen and writing a tasting note with. Red Bordeaux is still dark, it's rich and intense, but that blend and the cooler growing conditions mean you might see a more gradual evolution of colour to the meniscus. That's the little lip of wine where the particles are more attracted to the glass than they are to each other, and they start to climb up the sides. You can taste the difference too. Red Bordeaux will be fresher than a New World Cabernet with a bit more acidity. These differences have changed over the years. Some red Bordeaux has become richer, softer and more supple. Some New World Cabernet has sought to become lighter, brighter and more refreshing. But you still see these general category differences as you taste through different wines. You'll tend to find that New World Cabernet will have a higher alcohol than red Bordeaux too. And that's for much the same reason as the difference in acidity. As a grape ripens, it accumulates sugars that it converts into alcohol, and it tends to lose that acidity. And that gives wines a different feel, a different style. But there's one big difference that, again, we see in the original question. Why does red Bordeaux taste different to New World Cabernet? New World Cabernet is an expression of a grape, a focus on what makes Cabernet special, harnessing and enhancing its characteristics, its complexity and its beauty. But red Bordeaux is Bordeaux, a wine whose defining feature is that it comes from a place, Bordeaux, or even from a region, Pessac-Léognan, a wine that evokes a sense of the soil and the climate and even the history of its origins. All the things that are embodied in that mysterious French word terroir. Yes, it's the soil, the climate, the farming practices, but terroir is also a philosophy, a unified, holistic approach to winemaking that blends the experience of the ages with the conditions of a vintage. I'm not a fan of scoring wines. The great wine writer Hugh Johnson once likened it to scoring your friends. Wines are like friends. You like them for who and what they are, where they came from, what they believe in. Bordeaux is what its winemakers believe in, but rather than telling you in words, they write their manifesto in wine. Come back again tomorrow when we'll have another manifesto in wine with Le Grand Voyage and Chateau Malartic La Gravière. I look forward to seeing you then.